So if you take 50 books and read on your specific subject, 50 great fucking books about creativity, entrepreneurship, you're gonna learn so much by reading those 50 books. Yeah, you might learn something in school too, but reading 50 books on a very specific, narrow subject is life-changing.
Santi production. Welcome to Finding America. I'm on a 13,000-mile road trip to meet Finnish Americans and figure out why they want to be here and learn about cultural differences. You'll meet exciting Finns and hear about their journeys in America. While driving down from Michigan's Upper Peninsula, I took a quick stop in Chicago to pick up my friend who came from Finland to help me drive. Now we've arrived in Columbus, Ohio. In this episode, we sit down with entrepreneur and book enthusiast Robban, who worked his ass off in San Francisco before landing in Columbus. I love his straightforwardness, and we got to play with his dog. So big W's all around. Oh, before we get on with the show, it would mean the world to me, and it would help me creating content like this in the future if you could subscribe, smash the like button, and maybe share this with a friend. See you next time. For someone who's never heard of you, how would you introduce yourself?
I'm an adventurer. I've always been on a trip. Kind of settled down now, got kids and dog and wife and all that, the stationary part of my life.
Tell us a little bit about how you came to America to begin with.
I met the right people. I was into sailing, and that got me into Boy Scouting, and Boy Scouting got me into a trek through the Sierra Nevada in the 80s with other Europeans. I got chosen to represent Finland. 2-week stay in San Francisco, and I fell in love with that city, and the seed was planted that maybe I go there and study. I was very creative, and I was wanted to study creativity, and I tried to get into the architecture school in Helsinki, and like 22 people got in and I wasn't one of them. So then I went with plan B and wanted to go to San Francisco and study advertising. So that's how it worked.
What was your first place you lived in San Francisco? Or the Bay Area?
In the Sunset area, in the fog, and then I got my own place in the sunny side, right next to the Sada Market in the creative area.
So you're familiar with Carl the Fog and him creeping in?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's two different cities. It's you got the cold and the foggy part, and the almost always sunny.
Would you say you're a Finnish Californian?
I used to be. I've been away for 15 years now, and it has changed a lot still, and each time I go back I feel like it's not quite my city anymore and not my place anymore, and I'm okay with that.
How long have you been in America total now?
Since '88, so 34 years, something like that.
That's I'm born in '89, so.
That was a great year for me.
Oh yeah?
That's actually when I started studying in the States.
What's your best memory, like a small thing from '89 specifically, on top of studying?
Well, I was living in the Canary Islands, and I was a manager for a marketing team of a holiday resort. It was a wonderful year for me. I ended up quitting that job and gave it to my older brother, who's quit his studies and came to work. I took my what I had and went with my plan to go to study. That was the best part of '89. Of course, the earthquake in San Francisco was 2 months after I had arrived.
How big of an earthquake?
Oh, it was 7.5, I think, was one. Yeah, it's one of the biggest we've had. Actually, I think it's 6.8 was the final official, but it was a huge earthquake. I knew I had come to the right place when the next day, when the city was still burning, people were still trapped under freeways. I took my mountain bike, I took my camera, I went down and took photos, and on Market Street, downtown in San Francisco, they were selling t-shirts. I survived
Wow.
big earthquake. And to me, that's American spirit. You know, you get up and make something out of something, and also the support that California then got and still get for the fires and for all over the states. When there is trouble, the country comes together and helps out. So those two wonderful lessons I learned during those weeks.
Do you have any pet peeves? You've been in America for a while.
I hate when you take photos and everybody always says you need to say cheese. Everybody's photos looks always the same. Cheese. Everything has to be power, everything. I saw this one guy with a leaf sucker. He sucked up leaves, and he's like, it took nothing. And you could have just taken with your hands or with a rake 10 times faster. And he was like sucking it up one leaf at a time. Kitchen tools. There's like a tool for everything. You have like a cherry pit extractor. My wife bought that. They like it, but when you press it, you have cherry juice all over the place.
But they don't have cheese slicers.
No, they don't have cheese slicers.
Like,
well,
why?
Of course,
Why?
We have 5 of them. Yeah, it's like there's a kitchen tool for every fruit or everything. All you need is a good knife.
Going from pet peeves to another thing is, why do you love staying in America?
I love the creativity here. You can have a very small idea and you have enough left-handed people who prefer juggling, sell your juggling product to them. It's just so big. So from a business standpoint, it's amazing because it opens a lot of markets for just about anything.
How often do you go back to Finland?
We go quite often as we can afford now with the kids. And we've been 7 times since they were born, so every 2 years usually.
What's the first thing when you come to Finland that you have to get?
Well, it used to be Carol's Burgers. I used to work at Carol's when I was a kid, and it actually was reason why I came to the States. It's a long story, but sauna. I love sauna in Finland. Of course, I do sauna here too a lot.
On your free time, what do you do?
I play a lot of tennis. I used to play a lot of poker because my biggest client was a poker casino in San Fransisco. I used to sail in San Francisco, I had my own sailboat there, but there's not much sailing here in Columbus, Ohio.
You're in the middle of
Yeah, we have to drive like 2 hours to the coast, to the lakes, to the big lakes.
Tell me this, how do you define success?
In a very Finnish way, happiness really. I mean, that thing we have, the Nordic happiness, it's so achievable for anybody because you can it's not how much you have, it's who you have and what you do with what you have.
Do you consider yourself lucky?
I've been extremely lucky. I don't think luck has played that big of a role. For sure in poker, I don't rely on luck at all. It's all about the math and the probabilities.
Do you think luck just increases the more you try almost?
Oh yeah. I think that's Gretzky's or whatever. It's like,
how would you define failure?
Doing too many different things. Any of my failures have come from having too many things going on. You need to be more focused.
What makes Finnish people unique, if anything?
It's funny, when you move away from Finland, you can really start to appreciate Finnishness and Finland. And that's something that's so hard to see in Finland when you are there. It's impossible. Every year I appreciate it more and more, and I see those traits that we have and how they work for us. I think the biggest thing that Finns have is their independence. Kind of like an inner grit, sisu to not be a burden. I think there was a study in Ilta-Sanomat that said, what's the most Finnish expression there is? Votes came in and it was, no eihän nyt mun takia tarvii. They offer you coffee and they said, no eihän nyt mun takia, please don't do it for me.
Don't make coffee for me just because of, you know, don't let me be a burden.
Don't let me be a burden. We do enough so that we can take care of ourselves on our own and our situation, not be a burden to anybody. From young kids, we walk to school, we take buses to school on our own.
What does it mean to be Finnish to you specifically?
To be Finnish is that you take care of yourself, you don't be a burden to anybody. It can be a little bit of a negative if you are in trouble, that you don't reach out and you don't seek help.
How do you keep Finnish traditions going in your family, and do you?
Yeah, we do. They're important. My kids, they love Finland. We do as many as we can. We have a little society here in Columbus too with some Finns that we get together and do our things. Christmas, of course, even though we're not religious, not as a country or not as a family, a pre-Christian holiday that we took seriously, 12 days of feasting and having fun. So food, of course. I like to cook and I do my laatikot and all those stuff. And
your kids speak Finnish, right?
They do not, unfortunately.
They do not.
I missed the boat, I'm sorry. They are Finnish citizen. I finally got that taken care of. Got them registered for real, so they got their social security numbers and all that. But I missed the boat on that. I started out well, Swedish would be the language, but I started speaking Swedish. My first kid was, she understood everything and even spoke, had a good vocabulary. But then when she started to use language, it was English. And I was so happy to be able to start speaking with her that it kind of, my family is so angry with me that I let it go and they all say, well, it's not too late, it's not too late. So sorry Finland.
Do you have an American dream?
Not anymore. I've reached what I consider what I wanted. I'm putting my kids through fine schools. Hopefully I'll be graduating as a parent here soon. I think I might have global dreams. I have some big designs and stuff I would want to get out in sailboats and stuff like that.
Have you had mentors or coaches throughout your career?
Coaching was basically born in San Rafael in California, just north of San Francisco. The real coaching culture and the first coaching institute. I've always been interested in coaching. My wife's aunt is a coach, a relationship coach. She's been a great coach for me for family and relationships. I've had great bosses, which is kind of the same way once you are able to relate to your boss and your peers in that kind of way. And that's some of the best coaching you can ever get. Michelle Vendel, of course, hi Michelle, was a big role model. I think more role models than coaches.
Do you have any thoughts on how you have to adapt your personality as a Finn to work in America?
I haven't worked in that big corporations where I would have been involved in big teams where that kind of niftiness and things would be really important. I can tell you that it's in relationships, you definitely are way too direct. We take for granted that we bring stuff up when even if it's not the right time. If something is wrong, we'll try to fix it. In relationships, that's not always the best solution.
Did you have any specific hardships when you moved to America? Or
in Columbus, and I guess in America, New York has this saying that if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I would say about Columbus, Ohio, or anywhere in America is that if you can't make it here, you can't make it anywhere. It is easy, it really is easy. If you want it, whatever small bureaucracy stuff that you might have issues with, I mean, Google, nowadays answers are so quick. And Finns are very good at finding quick solutions to everything. So people nowadays, when you can pick up your phone and have a video call with your brother or your parents at any time and ask any question, I can't see how anybody could have any troubles these days.
Yeah, I learned how to find the DMV through Yelp to figure out which one had the shortest wait lines, because the DMV is the worst place in America, pretty much.
For sure.
That and prison.
Sure.
Prison first, but it's just not the place you want to be in. What are some concrete steps that I could take to be in your position as an entrepreneur?
Well, you need to specialize in something, be good at something, do it a little bit better than the competition, and I think maybe staying away from very competitive fields, answering calls and getting back to people. It's like I said, it's easy here. I mean, if you really just do almost the minimum, you can do well here. If you take things seriously and just answer and get back to people and follow up, have business cards or have web profiles. Americans are on a top level. Americans are a top in almost every industry. On a regular level, on the midfield, it's very not that competitive and not that hard to do well. Because that midfield is so big, the markets are so big, you can really do well. As
an entrepreneur, there are times when it's lonesome or just difficult. And do you have any ways that you cope with that,
That is where the Finnishness comes in. Being okay to be alone, being okay to be bored, be okay to know that it's not always going great, having a very even keel, as Finns would have, not like up and down in emotionally. Yeah, I have been basically self-employed since year 2000, so 20 plus years. It's been lonely, it's definitely been lonely, and it's not for everybody. Your partners becomes the vendors that you deal with and your clients. It works well because you're really happy when your clients call. I've never had to call my clients. Like, I've been in a very good position where I haven't had to pick up phone to get new business. You work all the time, but you never really work. It's almost like you never have the Sunday night blues, but Friday doesn't always feel like Friday. The whole week is Thursday.
I had troubles with people being so excited for Fridays and just hating Mondays. And for me, it's like, wait, I guess it was different because I really love what I do, and I've lived my dream for 10 years.
Right.
And so for me, I was excited on Monday. I get to go back to work. It doesn't really matter what weekday it is. I want my freedom when I want my freedom, and I take it when I can. And if I have a flexible job where I can kind of give and take, and if I have a soccer game at 6 and I need to leave at 4, I'll leave at 4, and just I feel like work should be dynamic and flexible.
But I think Americans are very good at liking what they do and taking ownership of their job. Finland, you're like, if you have to pay for a uniform, like what? No, I'm supposed to get everything that. Here, people kind of take ownership of their job.
All right, Robban, are you ready? We're gonna do a word association play.
All right.
So I'll give you 10 words. Tell me the word that comes into your mind or a sentence that comes into your mind, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
First word, blue.
Finland.
White.
Snow.
Sauna.
Sweat.
Sisu.
Winter war.
Black.
Moon.
Green.
Money.
Coca-Cola.
Yuck.
The Matrix.
Red pill.
Finland.
Happiness.
Love.
My kids.
And what do you have to say to the next generation of entrepreneurs?
Read books. So if you take 50 books and read on your specific subject, 50 great books about creativity, entrepreneurship, you're gonna learn so much by reading those 50 books. Yeah, you might learn something in school too, but reading 50 books on a very specific, narrow subject is life-changing.